What's the biggest issue that you've seen in the past when it comes to influencers trying to level up in their career?
11 years, and I think I've seen the same thing happening over and over, and it's mindset. So many influencers are really focused on creating the perfect feed, having the perfect photos, having the perfect videos, and that strive for perfection is really attacking their self-esteem and their, enthusiasm as it relates to content creation. I think if most influencers really took a step back and tried to focus on finding their voice and understanding their message, more so than creating the perfect type of content that's going to spike engagement or resonate with said audience, they would have a much more happy life as well as a much more successful career. But I think one of the biggest challenges is that most people equate finding their voice with perpetuity. This is my voice forever versus this is my voice today and it might change tomorrow. I think if people allowed themselves a little bit more flexibility and wiggle room to grow and evolve and change, their content would resonate naturally with more people because we're ever evolving, right? If you're not growing, then you're dead. Finding your voice has become like this challenge amongst people, especially influencers, because they're thinking that that voice means that's who they are forever and a day, and it's not. Your voice could be the best nail polish and nail care today, and then tomorrow it could be fitness. And guess what? There's going to be an audience that feels the same way, that care about their nails but also cares about fitness. Your voice today could be about cooking vegan food, and tomorrow you could decide you want to be, a pescatarian, and now you're switching. But people are so afraid to provide themselves flexibility because they're judging other people for changing and evolving. Oh, you said you were this way yesterday and now you're this way today. And that judgment of other people trickles backwards on themselves, and now they're judging themselves for wanting to change and evolve, which scares them. So here we go. We're not providing that room for growth. We're not giving ourselves the love and care and nurture that we need to continue to grow and expand because we're judging ourselves. And we're judging ourselves because we're judging other people. No one's finding their voice. No one's finding their voice, so no one has a true, authentic message because they're not standing in who they are.
So can you go into more detail about authenticity? How it relates to influencers. What do you mean by that?
I equate authenticity with definitions. We all know what a dictionary is. We all know what definitions of words are. But when we think about being taught definitions, you're always taught the definition of a word based on someone else's definition. I think as people, a lot of times we stick to what we were taught in grade school, right? This is the definition of a word. Society dictates the definition of a word. And so then we naturally start to live our lives based off of the definition of words based on society. As women, we think about beauty in the way that society thinks about beauty. We never really take time to ourselves to sit down and say, how do I define beauty? What is beauty to me? Because if we did, a lot of us would stop chasing what society deems as beautiful and chase what we have designated as beauty. I see it every day with influencers with the word success. What does a successful influencer look like? Ask any one of them that, and a lot of the times the definition is what society deems as a successful influencer. I mean, you could say that across the board in any industry, right? No one is really taking the time and doing the self-work to sit down and say, what are my personal definitions? Because success could look like balling, being on different yachts, having a private chef to one person, and success could look like still balling, but being able to pick up your child every day from preschool and being able to have a soccer mom van just for the whole team. Success looks different across the board to everyone. However, because of social media, we have all decided that society can define words for us. So when we think about authenticity, I think authenticity means that you have figured out what words mean to you. You've taken the time, taken a step back from social media, taken a step back from reality TV, taking a step back from the news and politics and said, these are the definitions I'm going to assign to each word as it relates to my life and how it impacts my life. And these are the ways that I'm going to attain success and beauty and whatever else you want to define for yourself based off of your definitions. I've spoken about that a few times to people and they're like, how do you take a step back, or how do you define these words for yourself? Well, what I did, I took a 3-day retreat. I went to a hotel, turned off my phone, turned off my iPad, turned off my computer, didn't watch any TV. I didn't go to restaurants because I wanted to be secluded. And so for 48 hours, I had no interaction with the outside world, which immediately started to allow me to get into my own mind, into my own thoughts. And I was really in a state of prayer and meditation, talking to my God, talking to, my higher spirits, everything that relates to me, questioning. I started to journal a lot, and I really started to write down these key words in my life. And I said, what does that look like to me? And in that moment, when anything popped up in my head visually, I wrote it down. I didn't try to combat my brain. I didn't say, that's not really true success, or no, that's not really beauty, or no, that's not really what a woman should be. I just flowed, and I created these solid definitions for myself, and I began to operate my life like that. And then I was able to really step into who I am, and I was authentic because I took the time to define definitions, which then defined my life, which now I'm able to operate as my authentic true self.
Do you compare your success with others? Should influencers compare their success to someone else's? Can they use it as like a goal? Like, I want to be something like this.
That's a loaded question. Do I compare myself to other people? Yes, because we all do naturally. Do I try to compare myself to other people? Absolutely not. Because what everyone has to always remember, including myself, remind myself that people are only going to allow you to see what they want you to see. You're looking at people's highlight reel and comparing it to your whole movie. If we go back to the definitions, you're comparing your life to someone else's life when you don't know what their definitions are. And a lot of times we get wrapped up in other people's lives so much to the point where we forget what we truly want. I can't tell you how many influencers that I've worked with that when they started with me, their goal was A, but they're watching all these other influencers, and those influencers are really striving at B. So now all of a sudden, those influencers whose goal was A, guess what their goal is now? B, right? They forgot what their true goals and desires were because someone else's journey looked easier. They looked like they were succeeding, but you don't know how long that person was on that journey. You don't know what that person is sacrificing. One of the things that most influencers come and talk about is an example. Oh, I really want to work with this car brand. I see other influencers are working with Lexus. How can I work with Lexus? All of a sudden you want to work with Lexus? I thought you were really into beauty. Yeah, but I see such and such is collaborating with Lexus and we have the same amount of followers. All right. Do you know if they got paid to work with Lexus? Well, they're the type of influencer that looks like they only get paid partnerships. Okay, so you don't know. Do you know if they have any contacts at Lexus? Do you know how long it took them to start working with Lexus? Do you know what they've done on the back end to work with Lexus? We forget about all those type of questions when we're comparing ourselves, right? We're just looking at their highlight reel and comparing it to what we have, forgetting what we really want. So it all works together when we talk about our voice, being authentic, defining ourselves, comparing. These are all culprits. The enemy coming here to steal, kill, and destroy, right? That's what those things are. That's not operating from your higher self. Your higher self would say, that's dope that she was working with Lexus. I want to work with Lexus. Can you help me strategize a plan so that I could work with Lexus? You see the difference in that conversation? It's not I want what she has. It's I've looked at what she has and I think that's something I may want to attain. How can I get to that level? When you're not operating from your higher self, when you're not authentic, when you don't have your own definitions, when you don't have those blinders on, it's challenging to go from I want what she has to I like what she has and I think I may enjoy that. I don't necessarily want to work with Lexus, but I think I want a car partnership. Comes from a completely different angle. So do I compare myself? Yeah. But I look at that comparison to really tell me what is it truly that I see these people have or these people doing that I really want? What part of that is resonating with me and what part of that is lighting a fire in me? Because it's more than the car. It's more than the Lexus. And I think again, that comes with taking that time to see who you are, figuring out your voice, figuring out your message, and taking time alone.